Hello, this video is to demonstrate how to wire arms for Amigurrumi dolls. I've actually done that for quite a few of mine, and I've gotten some questions about how that's done, and I'm going to demonstrate that. So what I've got here is a smaller version of a Domokun Amigurrumi, which I was working on, and the pattern for this will actually be posted soon, so if you're excited, just hang tight, it won't be long. And as you can see, he's pretty much done. He's got his little feet on and everything, but he doesn't have his arms yet, and the reason for that is that we're going to be wiring him first. So a lot of people have asked if it's okay to use pipe cleaners to wire dolls, and I don't recommend it. I have tried it before, and what I found is that the pipe cleaners, they're just not stiff enough. They don't offer enough strength to be able to be flexed back and forth and to keep that strength. So what I use is this, and this is Romex residential electrical wiring. You can buy it at Home Depot by the foot or the yard or the meter or what have you. You can also buy it at Walmart in coils. It's available pretty much everywhere. And get him out of the way. What it is it's copper electrical wiring. You can get it in different sizes, and as you can see, you just cut off the outer plastic jacket, and then inside you'll have several wires. Depending on the thickness that you buy and the type that you buy, there might be a different number of wires, but here we've got a copper wire wrapped in white plastic, one in black, and then just a plain naked one. And whichever one you want to use is up to you. Usually I'll use the white with amigurumis that have like a light color yarn, so it doesn't really look weird or show through black on dark colors, and naked on really thin pieces. So you always want to remove the outer plastic, but this here, if you're comfortable with that plastic being on there, you don't really have to worry about it. Just scissors are good for cutting the plastic layer on the outside, and then for cutting the wire you can use the wire cutting part on pliers. Just any kind of ordinary pliers. Usually they have a little part you can see right here where it's sharp for pinching, and then there's also like wire snips that you can buy, but for the most part it's not necessary. So what we're going to be doing is we need to figure out roughly how long of a piece of wire we need to cut, and the piece of wire is going to go from one arm of Domokun through his body and out the other side. And the reason for that is that his arms will not be flopping around because the wire actually needs to be anchored in the doll. And I found that's the best way, is just to have one big long piece that goes from one arm and through the doll and then out the other arm. So to figure out how long we need, we've got the arm piece. So let's use just the plain naked one. So that's one arm piece, and then the length of another arm piece, and then the width of his body. So we'll need roughly that much. So I cut off my piece that I'm going to use, and the ends are actually really kind of pointy. So what I do is I always fold it over, and that's so that it doesn't just poke out of the end of the amigurumi arm or foot. So I just kind of fold it over like that, and so we figure out where on the doll we want the arms to go, and Domo's arms start kind of just a little bit below, a little bit sort of around where his mouth starts. So probably have it go in there, And then you just want to make sure that you've got it coming out in a similar spot on the other side. You can actually, if you want to be a real perfectionist about it, you can count the stitches and make sure that everything lines up well and that you're happy with it. I actually wasn't happy with that, so I just moved it. And you just want to be careful when you're poking it through not to poke too much stuffing out. You will be putting the arm on, which will cover up some of that. But so basically we're giving him little wire stick arms, and he's pretty happy about that. And then this is what his arms will be. So you just slide one of them over the wire, and then using some pins, you want to pin it in place so that the arm will sort of be where you want it to be. And then what you would do is look at how much length you need on the other side, and then cut it to where, with the little bent over tip, it'll be around the right length. It doesn't need, the wire doesn't need to go all the way into the hand, and I've got like a little bit of stuffing in here. So actually the wire stops right about here, and that's fine, because really it's just the arm and the elbow that we want to be able to have be posable. And so if we just keep putting pins, we've got his one arm secured in place, and then just take the other arm. So we're going to need about to there. I always give myself quite a bit extra, just to make sure that it's not too stubby. And then just hold that little piece over so that the wire's not poking out of the tip of his hand. Like that. And then you would just slip the arm on and pin this one in place. And then once they're pinned in place and they look how you want, you can close them. And using a nice thick copper electrical wire allows you to make sure that you'll be able to pose the doll and then repose it and adjust the poses, as opposed to having a pose like stitched in place, or it just makes it a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more fun. So that is how I wire my dolls.